It was 2021. At that time I lived in kind of rural area in Europe, so despite the lockdown I still hung out with my friends. It was my birthday at March, and we were obsessed with Dua Lipa's album Future Nostalgia that was already out for a year at that point. I'm kinda like a future nostalgia? What does that mean? Do you really think it's gonna be? It was 2021, which was 5 years ago. Scary. It's almost 2026 now, and I wanna say, she definitely knew something. 2020 changed everything. The life before was different. Why does everything we are now calling new turn out to be surprisingly 25 years old already? It kinda feels that we don't have a culture anymore, but more like speedrun the culture. When I realized what is happening, I started to overthink. Am I alone this feeling? Why am I asking this question? At least because of that widely held belief that time is accelerating with age, and I just grew up, and I can't do anything about it. So I asked people, what they thinking about it, and I wasn't really surprised. I was horrified. Turns out that no matter of age or lifestyle, many people have exactly the same feeling. Why? Our brains are measuring the speed of time by the amount of new experiences that we lived through. And by the speed of time, I mean the speed of time that we perceived when we are looking back, not the speed of current moment. Recent 5 years were smooth and compressed into one fluffy chunk because perceived novelty is lagging. And this is a root cause. Root cause means that everything else is a variation of this particular mechanism. Have you noticed that since 2020 went the era of remakes? We had all sorts of games and films that were recreated and relaunched. And I don't want to go into nostalgia because this trend goes in order a very specific direction. Unoriginal content, including remakes, sequels, copy-paste, reactionary content, rage-bait content farming, and the final knock of originality is AI. I personally do like popular science, but even there when I'm watching the video, I already knew what's gonna happen. I can already predict the whole structure and the outcome at the beginning, and it gets even worse when we are talking about some entertainment stuff. I'm gonna put this card into hydraulic press. What's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? Isn't that obvious? This thing is so predictable that I might even know what the next line is, and I think you also can. It means we didn't learn anything. Fear. The politics of 2025 is a politics of fear and empathy shortage. The things to be scared of are never original. Let's take a look at the Nazis Germany. Inflation, job crisis, war and government that base everything on racial minorities and trans people. But what about AI? You're not scared of AI, come on. You're scared of becoming unimportant. Things to be scared of are never original. And also, the stress itself makes us perceive time slower in the moment but much faster in the long run. If I'm gonna ask you, what videos did you remember from the past several months that you watched? I'm sure it is something that has new ideas. New ideas are important, but the platform definitely have some problems with algorithms. Let's take a look at your homepage. What do you see? Original content, including remakes, sequels, copy-paste, reactionary content, rage-bait, content farming, and the final nuke of originality is AI. So, what exactly has happened in 2020 that caused this great shift? Lockdown has changed our routine, and as a result, we started to spend more time on the internet. More time means more users means more money, and more money means more slope competing for our attention. The slope wave has covered humanity. No one saw it coming and nobody understood when it came. It was the first time in human history when we became overwhelmed with information. It was unique, it was rapid, and it was masked after another big event. Quickly, the internet became a place where everything is important but nothing is happening, and where everything is happening but nothing is important. We are actually very bored right now. Yes, bored, literally, and we don't even recognize it. I call it the new boring, and it's way different from the old one. Boredom is a thing that triggers our brain to explore the world and make new stuff. Back in the day, we invented the things not just to keep ourselves entertained at all costs, and that led to all kinds of new experiences. As I already mentioned, the new experiences are what makes the time feel much longer. But now, instead of being bored and exploring, we consume the content in desperate attempts to learn something new. And we kinda are unsuccessful in it. We really like to choose the content that makes us emotional instead. That's one problem. If you spend a lot of time on the internet, there is nothing really new that you can learn anymore without getting into complicated details. That's the core problem. It doesn't seem like we are moving because we are actually stuck. In time, in ideas, in a decade that feels like 1 year. Stuck in 20s if you want to. Step bro, I'm stuck. The obvious solution that comes to mind right after you understand the situation is to just stop consuming and right away delete all the media apps. And I don't think it's a good idea actually. Everyone talks about living in the moment, but does that even work? The social media has changed our society, moving us from positions of observers of the internet to its permanent residents. We are so used to think that real society is here and social media is there, while the whole society is on the internet now. I'm not offering you a so-called solution because it would not work in the way you might expect. Living in the moment in 20s is not the same. If you stopped consuming the content, you would be disconnected from the society. And back in the good old bad times, we wasn't. Not a blank right now, and while you feel how time is passing by, write a comment about your experiences in this fever dream. Even if you never wrote a comment before, I would really like to read your thoughts. Volume-based consumption. If the algorithm doesn't work, take the initiative in your own hands. Aside from brain rot, prefer those who put actual value in what they make. That's basically the only real solution that exists. Since this moment, everything you will watch will be decided by you or by the algorithm. Control and clickers, don't let them control you. Make connections online, find a community. I know this advice might sound really wishful, because communication is hard, especially in time of crisis. But always remember, people like you exist. I promise, it is possible to find a community that will celebrate you. In 2019, it was indeed harder to find online spaces than now. It's getting better, use that opportunity. Choose to learn. Deliberate learning is the best way to find new ideas. Watch the long lectures, explore the new complicated topics, try new things that require very unique skills. You can consider going to college or university, but if you're gonna choose this one, never waste your life on good grades. It's not worth it. So go and learn something. Sometimes you can look back and feel that time passes by really fast. You might even feel that all it takes is to close your eyes and your life will be rewinded to its end. Trust me, it's not gonna happen. We are humans, and the beautiful thing about us is that we can adapt to the changes. If you feel that something isn't right, other people feel it too. Maybe not everybody has words to describe exactly what's wrong, but crisis starts and crisis ends. The slope era will end. Originality, creativity, and critical thinking are gonna stay forever. Sometimes it needs to get worse before it gets better. If you wanna be a creator, you can. There's still time. The progress is moving forward, and it means that we will never run out of things to brag about. Don't worry about big corporations, they will never be able to take even the slightest risk of making something that has a soul. I actually feel that we have fewer original authors now than before. So go ahead and create, learn how to make your ideas into reality. Enjoy the process. I'm an artist and I have only one life, so I don't want to spend it on sadness. I think that life is worth living when it's epic and fun. So I'm enjoying the Fever Dream show and I hope it never ever ends.